How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, sunny day in Amsterdam, so all good.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So before we're gonna get into the album that's coming up, I wanted to go back a little bit because I was wondering how you got into music.
Yeah, I mean that's a big question, but I guess before I started Roosevelt, I was kind of in these two worlds of different genres. Like I was playing drums in a band that is more guitar heavy, like that, like a classic rock structure, two guitars, bass, and drums. And then at the same time, I was DJing in clubs in Cologne. So I was starting to get into like more electronic music, more dance music, and I was kind of in these two different worlds. And then I guess when I started Roosevelt, I tried to merge this all a bit. And in all the years before that, like in 7 or 8 years before that, I just played in different bands in my hometown, and I kind of jumped from instrument to instrument. So I played drums and then guitar and then bass and then drums again, and more or less like just something that's needed. Like when friends asked me, do you want to play bass in my band, then I just played bass for a year in that band. And yeah, it was more like just trying things out, different genres, different bands, different combinations, and then it just made sense that at some point I just tried to do things by myself, because playing in bands can be quite a compromise, because like all the time I like at decisions in the songwriting process, there was a lot of the times the moment where I thought what would happen when I would do the track. Like it's quite a yeah, so I mean the project started more or less as like an experiment because of this. So for the first time I just tried things out. Like I just wanted to see where a song would be going if I do everything by myself. So yeah, I just tried things out at the start. Like yeah. I did my first like own tracks, and from that kind of experiment, just to see how it would sound, like this whole project evolved. Like it was quite a natural process, I think. Yeah.
What instrument did you like the most to play, or do you like the most?
I still feel like drums are kind of my main instrument.
Yeah. Why?
Because I mean that's the instrument I played the most in bands when I was younger. I don't know. I'm not a particularly good drummer, I would say, but it just feels the most like my home instrument. I just like to like give the rhythm foundation. That's still and I still like when I produce tracks, I start with the drums and the percussion. Like that's still my still feels like the main fundament, I guess. Yeah.
And you already said you played in different bands in different genres.
Mm-hmm.
What was it that pulled you towards electronic music?
I mean, when I was DJing, what I really liked about it was like the physical component of it. Like when you play in a band, when you play like a concert for 1 hour and people are attending and they quite like it, but you never really have that. There are moments where you can have a good feedback of the crowd, but there's quite a barrier between the band and the crowd at some moments. And when you DJ, it's the feedback you get is so immediate. Like you play a track and you just know if you've done your job or not. So the immediate feedback of playing electronic music just like got me so much, and it was something I didn't want to lose producing my own music. And yeah, I mean that was such a new thing for me to experience that, like the physical component of music, and that's kind of why I wanted to like keep it up in my own productions.
Yeah. So when you started with the Roosevelt project, were you already DJing by then?
Yeah.
So it was
even
DJing,
before, yeah.
Yeah. So it was
even
DJing that why you decided to.
Yeah, I think it was a key moment or like a key experience why I'm doing the style that I do. Yeah, it kind of, I think, yeah, it got from DJing that I try to do the music that I do now, which I think is songs and melodies and vocals, but still with a dance and club feeling and rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah, and you said it started out as an experiment. What was the first song that you made as Roosevelt, where you were just like, yeah, this is really good. I'm gonna keep it going.
I mean, I think still C is the one that like opened so many doors for me, and my label Greco-Roman got in touch with me because of it, and that's still like, it feels like the first Roosevelt track, and it was the first track I ever finished as Roosevelt, and yeah, that's still like, it feels like, and now it's on the album and we still play it live, so it still feels like the baby that we are carrying around.
Yeah.
Like it's, yeah.
Do you feel like that song C is the one that also set the tone for the Roosevelt sound?
In a way, yeah. I mean, it defines pretty much the style that I want to do, I think. But on the album, I try to move away a bit from the sound aesthetic in terms of putting reverb on a lot of tracks and just layering guitar notes on top of each other, which I really liked in the beginning. But for the album, I think it made sense to go for more like classic song structures and more clear productions. And I think the album sounds way more organic than a track like C. Like in total, I think I used a lot of like live drums and live percussion, and yeah, it was just important for me to not use so many samples and move away a bit from the production even. Like I wanted the production to be important and to like color the tracks in a certain way, but I wanted the spotlight to be on the songs. Like I wanted to be respected as a songwriter and not just as a producer. Yeah.
And why did it feel necessary for you to step away a little bit from the electronic sound and go to a little bit more organic sound?
I mean, I still think the album sounds electronic, but I think on a whole album, it just makes sense to sound a bit more organic and to bring in like live elements. And I think it also comes from like playing live, because then I had like before I started the album, I then had a live band, and I think like because before I used like drum machines and samples, and then live we were playing it with drums. Then yeah, but then it made sense, because I know I have a drummer live, that I just moved into that like sound aesthetic a bit more, like to use live drums in the studio, live percussions, and yeah, and to make the whole sound a bit more organic. And that was just important to me on the album. I think it was just a natural process, because the whole thing, Roosevelt, also turned a bit more from a side project to my main thing. So yeah, and it just felt like the right thing to do, to move a bit away from hiding myself and putting reverb on everything, and yeah, just being respected as a more performing artist and songwriter.
Yeah, because I read somewhere you saying in an interview that you felt a little bit like you were hiding behind the sounds a little bit. What does it feel like now to be out in the open and focusing more on songwriting, what you just said?
I mean, yeah, it really feels like I kind of got out of my comfort zone. And but I think it's important to have a certain idea of how you want to appear on stage. And I didn't really have that idea like 3 or 4 years ago. I just did some tracks, and then it felt like somebody kicked me on stage, you know. And I just had some time now doing the album to create a certain idea of how I want to perform the tracks and how I want to sound. And it was just important to like take a step back and yeah, think about what I want to say as an artist. And yeah, so that's also why I like took my year and did the album, because it was so rushed in the beginning, like single after single, and then the EP came out, and yeah, sometimes you lose your inspiration a bit. So I needed to take that break and go to the studio and do the album. Yeah, just to make the statement that I wanted to do.